Welcome, future superstars, future TCS superstars. Today, we are diving into the world of reasoning, the part of the test where your brain gets a full workout. But don't worry, we are making it fun, no boring lectures. We are going to solve some puzzles, we are going to race against some time, and probably questions in which reality a little ready. So, let's warm up your brain. I'll say a word and you say the first thing that pops into your head. So fast responses only. So when I say universe, what comes to your mind? Okay, so seems like nobody's talking to me. Okay, so let's have this very first question. The question says like this: Andhra Pradesh, universe, Tirupati, world, India. I will arrange them in an order and to create a meaningful word. So think of it like this. Imagine you are a Google Maps satellite. You're zooming in from the biggest to the smallest. So, what's the biggest thing here? Yes, obviously, you said it correct. Universe. Exactly, universe is massive. Now, if you zoom in further, what comes next? Of course, the world or the earth. So, now let's narrow it down. Like, where do we live? India. Yep. And within India, we have Andhra Pradesh, and inside that AP we got Tirupati. So the actual logical order we are doing is, so the logic behind this goes like this. So we are first looking at the bigger part here. The next comes is the world. Second part is the world, and the third part, you guessed it correct, that was India, and the fourth part, it's Andhra Pradesh. So the fifth part would be what? Fifth part would be Tirupati. Now, since they have already given the corresponding numericals to each word, we can actually write it like this. The first word that should come there, it should be universe, isn't it? So the first word is, so it has to start with 2, and the second it has to start with 4 according to this logic. 4, yep, 4 is the correct one. The next one, it has to be, what do you say, 3, Tirupati, yep. Tirupati is the right one, yep. And the next one is, what do we see there? Yep, Tirupati, uh-huh. Tirupati, and then Andhra Pradesh it should come. Then 5. So you might be wondering, like, why did Tirupati come first before the Andhra Pradesh? Andhra Pradesh should be the one that should come first, right? So because we have seen the options. So look at the options here. The option says like this, like 2 4 3 1 5, and then 3 1 5 4 2. So definitely it is starting with 2, that we are sure of. But look at the other options, narrow it down. You have limited time. TCS is not about can you do the problem or not. It's not a puzzle game. So it's all about how quick you are at the thing what you're doing. So it's all about the speed, the pace at which you're doing the problem. So if you narrow it down, if you think logically, the only thing that fits here is the option A. That means you just look at it. So 2 4 3 1 5. Though it is a little bit wrong here and there. So it is 2 4 3 1 5, isn't it? Okay. So quick question. So whatever that I'm writing here, is it visible for everyone? So just give me a yes or no in the chats so that I can able to understand that someone is listening. so I got my answer. Uh, yeah. According to this logic, if we think the only thing that fits here is this guy, option A, isn't it? Well, so let's have another activity. Let's have some fun now. Okay, so I've been talking for quite some time by myself. So let's have a little activity like wrong answers only, no right answers. So now let's have some fun. So who can give me the most ridiculously wrong answer? Let's see that. So I and you need to convince me why your answer is right. So you have to be creative and you have to give me only the wrong answers. Let's say if someone says Tirupati is bigger than the universe because of the laddu's demand, like that. Okay, so what do you think? Tirupati, is it bigger than the universe? Of course, it could be because of the laddu's demand, isn't it? Okay, so that was it. That was it because I don't want to keep it as a very boring lecture. So that's why. All right. Now look at the second question. What do we have here? So we have a letter series question. So we need to find the missing term. To find the missing term, so we have, what does the question say? S C D T E F U G H a blank, and then W K L. So what are the options that we have? So we have A C M L and then U J I and then V I J and then I J T. So alright, letter wizards, time to crack a pattern. Look at the first letters. So what's happening there? So look at each and every letter here. So what's happening here? So S is getting changed to T. S is becoming T. All right. And then what's happening with the second letter? That is S. So let's break it down. Let's put it this way. Let's try to do the same thing. The pad. The letters are. The pad is a little, little. So I'm just writing it here. All right. So let's have it this way. So what do we have there? So we have SCDTAF. Let's write that down. Let's write that here. So S they're writing it as T, and T they're writing it as U. So and U they're writing, what could they be writing it as? What could be the next word? Think, think. You're almost there. Yes, you got it correct. V. Of course it is V. It has to be V, isn't it? It has to be V. It has to be V. So correct. Now let's check the second letter. So what do we have there? So second letter C is getting changed to E and E is getting changed to G. So what could be the next letter? You tell me. Look at the pattern. So what's next? Yes, you guessed it correct. So that is I. I is the second letter. So I could be the next one. And finally, yes, and finally, the third letter. So look at the third letter. What do we have there? So we have D, we have F, and we have H. So what could be the next letter? So let's narrow it down. Let's put it on the board. Right? D, we have, and right, we are writing it as F, and we are writing it as H. So what could be the next letter? It has to be J. Correct. Obviously, yes, perfect. Correct. So let's break it down this way. So the first letter, so what exactly they are doing is, so the first letter S, they're writing it as T by doing plus 1. And for the second letter, they're doing the same thing. C, they're writing it as E by doing plus 2. And whereas, if you see the third one, that is D, they're writing it as F, again they're doing plus 2. So what's the pattern here? The pattern is simple. It's plus 1, plus 2, and then plus 3. So we have T. Okay, so T they are writing it as U. So U, how they are doing U? U plus 1 they are doing. So great. Okay. Alright, so we are almost there. So E they are writing it as G. So G plus 2 again, yep. Yes, we got it, correct. And F, so we are writing it as H. So yep, plus 2 again. So you see the pattern here. So the pattern goes like this. So again, if you narrow it down, so what do you get? U, it has to be written as V, yeah, plus 1 you have to do, and G you have to obviously write it as I, plus 1 plus 2 you have to do, and H you have to write it as J. So you have to do plus 2. All right. So what do we get there? So what's our answer? So V I J. So what do we have there? V I J. See, you don't have to. You don't even have to solve for the second letter and the third letter. In TCS exams, time is of an essence. Time will just run out in a blink of a second, just like that. Poof, gone. So you have to be little careful about the problem solving methods. So what you can do is, since what we have here, so none of the options have B at the beginning. So only the third option is having the B at the beginning. So what you can do is you can actually look at the options and you can go through all the options. So only C is having V at the beginning, so definitely that has to be my answer. I'll just take it and I'll just pass it on. Yep, easy peasy, isn't it? Alright, so I spoke for quite some time. Alright, so what we can do is, let's have one interactive challenge. So I call this challenge as beat the timer. Okay, so beat the timer. Alright, so I'll set a 30-second timer here. Alright, so 30 seconds. I'll only give 30 seconds, not more than that. Not more than that. Only 30 seconds is what I'm going to give. Okay, so I'll ask you to find the missing term, and while I start the timer, I'll be writing the questions here on the board. I'll just move it a little bit further. What I'll do is I'll start the timer, and meanwhile I'll also write the question right here. You have to guess, and you have to give me the right answer. Let's see that. So let's see how that works. So the timer is going to start in a minute. Meanwhile, I'll just note down the question A, B, D, and we have C, E, F, and we have G, H, I. So, and I'll give you a blank, and you have to guess me what should come there. And so then M, N, O. You tell me what could be the one that can come there. Yeah. The timer is ticking. The timer is ticking. 30 seconds. You do not have the 30 seconds anymore. Almost there, almost there. We are done. Hope the time is gone. All right, time's up. So perhaps you might feel like 30 seconds is quite too little, isn't it? So the exact same feeling you will be getting there also. You have to have enough logical thinking. Your brain should be like a super calculator, like a super computer, to be honest. Okay, so all right then. So I'll give you another 30 seconds to just to see if I could get the answers in the chat. All right. So drop your answers down in the chat, and we will see who's going to get the reward. All right. The timer is starting. The time starts now. Yes, congratulations. You got the answers all correct. Perfect. All right. Okay. So what's the answer for that question? Of course, it is KLM. Yes, it's all following the same pattern. No biggies. So we can easily be able to solve it. All right. So now look at the next question. So what do we have here? The next question. So the next question is about this 7, 13, 25, 49, 97, and what next? So we have A, B, C, D. We have four options there. Okay. All right. So, okay. So mathematicians, let's look at the numbers here. 7, 13, 25, 49, 97. So what's happening here? What's going on here? What's going on here? So someone see I know what you're feeling, what you're thinking. Actually, I can actually read your minds, so but I know what you're thinking. So you might be thinking that they're actually doubling the numbers, but not quite. Let's analyze the pattern. So let's break it down step by step. They Yes, you're almost there. If your gut feeling says that they might be doubling the number, yes, they might be, but not exactly. Look at that. 17 they're writing it as 7, they're writing it as 13, and then they're writing it as 25, and then 49, and then 97. So so what's the pattern here? The pattern is very simple. It's not big rocket science. So what they are actually doing is they are doubling the number 7 multiplied by 2, but instead of writing it as equals to 14, so they are actually doing something else. What are they doing? They are doing minus 1 and then they are writing it as 13. So you see what's happening here, isn't it? It's quite funny, isn't it? Yeah. So same thing. Do it for this. So 13 multiplied by 2, do minus 1. So what do you get? So 13 multiplied by 2 will give you 26. So you get 25 there. Good. Good to go. And same thing. So 25 multiplied by 2 minus 1, that gives you 49. Great. And 49 multiplied by 2 minus 1 is giving you 97. Great. Awesome. And 97 multiplied by 2 minus 1, so that's going to give you what? So of course, see, I know what's going in your mind. See, we can do up to 2-digit numbers. What about the 3-digit numbers? It's too overwhelming, isn't it? So we do not carry calculators. Of course, the calculator is not allowed in any of the exams. So how to do it without the calculators? Here comes the trick. So I'll tell you one thing. So you know that of course the number has to be a multiple of 2. So if you multiply this number with this number, you will be ending up getting what? Of course 14, 4. So but minus 1 of the last number, the very last number of that, so that should be what? That should be ending with 3, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. So that if it is ending with 3, which is the answer, that is ending with 3. Good job. You have done a very fantastic job and you got the answer perfectly perfect. Yep. So the answer for this question is 193. Alright. Okay. So I think I've been talking a lot and I'm not giving you enough chance to talk to me. Okay, so who wants to have a challenge with me? Or who wants to have a challenge the class? So I want you all to create a pattern. Okay, make up a number pattern, make it something out of your own will, and we will solve it together. Alright. So let's have it. So I'll give it up to you. I'll give you another 1 minute of timer to think about it and give me your own question in the chat box. Put it down, put it there, and we will solve it together. You and I, both together. All right. So was that the last question we had? No, we still have more questions, isn't it? Hmm. All right. Okay. All right then. So before we go with some couple of questions, what I'll do is, so I'll so let me be the let me be the question. Let me be like, so who wants to be the millionaire? Okay, so I got the question. So which we will solve it together eventually later. So who wants to be a millionaire? All right. So let's. So I'll give you a question. So what is the husband of your mother-in-law called? So what is the husband of your mother-in-law's daughter called? Keep thinking. All right then. So that was it. So I do not want to actually boredom you people, because so you know that I can understand that you people might have had a very hectic day. So you might have had to sit in your classes for quite some time, like for probably like 6 to 7 long hours, and taking this might be a little overwhelming. So I just gave a little pause over there, so for 5 minutes, so that you can able to uh, give a big breath, and then we can start together. So all right then, so what do we have here? So we have the next question. So we have 5 friends. So let's understand the given information. So let's try to break down the questions. We have 5 friends: Anuj, Beena, Chirag, Devesh, Ishan. They have birthdays in June, July, August, September, October, and they like different birthday treats. Like someone likes cakes, and someone likes chocolates, and someone like pastries, ice cream, and pancakes. So the one who likes pancakes is born in August. All right, so that's what they have given the hint. So look at the hint. The one who likes that born in August. Okay, and Chirag doesn't like pancakes, but brings cake for Devesh in September. Okay, so we have a very big party going on, right? And Ishan likes ice cream and born immediately after Beena. Great. And Beena doesn't like ice creams or chocolates. Great. Okay, so we need to do the next step, that is assigning the information to the friends. So each information should go where? So which friends? Like we have to create this in our head. So I'm putting it on the paper so that you can make out the difference between one to another very quickly. But you have to do this in your head when you're doing your exam. And how do you do that? With practice. Practice makes man perfect. All right. So months, we have month there, and we also have a birthday treat. All right. So who's the friend? So we don't know. We don't know who's that. We don't know who's that. But that person's birthday is on June, and that person don't know. We don't know what is the birthday treat that person is going to give. And we have Beena, the friend as Beena. We don't know when Beena was born, and the birthday treat Beena is bringing is what? So it's not ice cream, or not chocolate. So we don't know who's that friend, but the person is born in August, and the person brings pancakes. Okay, pancakes, and we have Devish, and we have Devish, and that person's information is quite clear, but we don't know what is the birthday treat that the person is going to give to anybody, but the person is going to, but cake was brought for him. That was for sure. Okay, so all right, so we don't know what is the birthday treat by this person, but the cake was bought for him. Cake was bought for him. And now what about Ishan? So what about this guy, Ishan? So we left that guy, right? So Ishan, and we don't know when he born, but he brings what? Ice cream. Please don't mind the spelling mistakes. Okay, so ice creams. Okay, so from this hint, from the third hint, we can definitely say one thing for sure, that Ishan is born immediately after Beena, isn't it? So if Beena is in July, so let me put it this way: if Beena is in July, then Ishan must be in August. So, but we already know that pancakes are liked by the person in August. So Ishan must be the one who likes pancakes. How about that? So poof, the mind is blown, isn't it? So I know. Yeah. So let's see. I'll do it this way. Ishan born in August, Okay, so pancakes are liked by the people who's in August. So pancakes I put pancakes, and we have Bina who's born in July, and the person who doesn't like ice cream, or the person doesn't like what, chocolate. Okay, so let's find what is the trait given by Devesh first. So that should be our third step. So from the second hint, what we can say is Chirag brings cakes for Devesh in September. So meaning the Devesh treat is the cake. Look at this question. So what does this say? So it says that Chirag brings cake for Devesh in September, meaning Devesh treat is cake. So Devesh gets cake in the September month. All right, and now we need to find the final step in which we need to find the Bina street. All right, so the thing here is Bina doesn't like ice cream or chocolate. So what are the remaining options? You tell me. Put that down in the comments. So Bina likes what now? Exactly. Bina likes pastry. She should be, she or he, we don't know the. See, in logical reasoning questions, we can assume the gender of a person, but not in blood relations. Okay, so Bina. So Bina has two options. Either she should be getting pastry or cake. So, but we have already assigned cake to Devesh, isn't it? Remember, we have given cake to Devesh. So Bina must be liking pastry. So Bina, who's born in July, is liking pastry. So let's identify the Chirag's choice. So what should Chirag be having? Now let's have it like this. So let's have it like this. Okay. So we had earlier created one table which was displaying everything. Now you tell me who's the friend. The only options which are left are chocolate or ice cream. Ishan already has ice cream. So Chirag must be the one who will be liking chocolate. So Chirag, who is born in October, so who will be liking chocolates. So we have to create one more person for Chirag. We need to create Chirag must be the person who will be born in October. So we don't know what is his choice yet. We'll find it out. We'll find it out. But look at here. So we have Anuj here, who's born in June. We don't know what his birthday date is, but we have figured out Bina. Bina likes pastry. So if it is not this, Bina must be liking pastry. And Ishan, we have Ishan must be the person who will be born in here. So Ishan. So and then what we have there? So we have Devesh, born in September, and the person likes cake. Okay, and forget about Ishan. So Ishan does what? Ishan likes pancakes, and Devesh likes cake. So the only option left are chocolate or ice cream. Ishan already has ice cream, so Chirag must be the one who likes chocolates. So so let me put it this way. I know that's a lot confusing for you. Chirag must be the person born in October who likes chocolates. So what is the answer for this question? It seems like a very lengthy and very big question, but trust me, it's very easy. Okay. So what's the answer for this question? Chocolate. The answer for this problem is chocolates. Okay. That was a very delicious question. All right. So we have solved a very big birthday mystery. So we have played detectives of ourselves, and we have imagined that we are planning a birthday parties and we need to get their favorite treats right, otherwise they won't invite us. So thinking of that, then we have tried to solve this birthday mystery, and that was fun. Yep, that was awesome. All right, so we will begin with the next question. Look at this question. So what the question say? Okay, the question says this: a person who is the husband of my sister is my what? So this question comes under family relation puzzle. So let's break this down step by step with an engaging interactive approach. So we need to find the relation of the husband of my sister to me. Okay, so time for some family drama. Okay, so imagine that you are at a wedding and you need to introduce this mystery man to your relatives. So let's figure out who he is. All right. So let's break down the question logically. Let's try to break it down logically. So what the question says here. So let's rephrase everything. Let's try to write everything from the beginning. So let's break it down. So who's your son's sister? Technically, that would be daughter. All right. So son's sister. So that would be a daughter. All right. And second thing, the husband of my daughter. Who's this person? Who's this husband of husband of my daughter? Who's this person? So what is your daughter's husband called as? Definitely son-in-law. Okay. I know that the option was too straight and everything was too blank. Okay, let me put it this way. Let's say, let's okay, forget about everything that you have heard so far. So let's try to make it even lot easier by understanding this. Okay, so I'll give a very easier explanation. Let's say you are the parent, and let's say you have a son. Okay, and that son's name is Ravi, and you have and your daughter. That means your son's sister. So let's name that person as Priya. Okay, so any Priyas or any Ravi who's watching, so please forgive me. Okay, so Priya's husband. So this is the person we need to identify. Who's this Priya's husband? Okay, so this is the person that we need to identify. So Priya's husband is Ravi's brother-in-law, isn't it? So, but for you, he is your son-in-law. So the final answer for this problem is it's son-in-law. Okay. All right then. So let's play a quick game. So I'll describe a family relations and you will guess who they are to me. So my father's brother's only son is my what? Put that in the comments right now, right away. Okay, and the second question. My mother's daughter's son is my what? Okay. And my sister's father is my what? Put everything in the comment box. Comment box. Yeah, comment it down. Okay. So don't spoil the relations. Okay. So because I have said my. So all right. So then okay then. So see, if you want to create your own puzzle and put it down in the comment section below, you can go ahead and do that, and we will guess the right answer for you. The earlier answer is still pending. Let's see if we have enough time to figure that out by the end of this class. Definitely, we will do that. All right. So let's proceed with the next question. All right then. So what do we have here? So one evening. So what does the question say? One evening before sunset, Rekha and Hema were talking to each other face to face. Okay. Rekha and Hema are talking to each other face to face. Okay. And if Hema's shadow was exactly to the right of Hema, which direction was Rekha facing? Is it north or south? So this comes under a direction based question. So let's break it down. Let's say so. All right, everyone. Say let's step into this scene. Imagine that it's a beautiful evening, and the sun is setting, and Rekha and Hema are standing face to face, having an intense conversation, maybe about the latest cricket match or their favorite Netflix show. So now let's have it this way. Like Hema's shadow is exactly to her right. So that is the clue. So look at the clues here. So Hema's shadow is exactly to the right, to her right. Now let's recall a simple rule. Shadows are always cast in the opposite direction of the light source. Ain't it? So, where the sun is during sunset? You tell us. During the evening, obviously, it has to be towards the west. Shadows always fall in the opposite direction of the light source. So, if Hema's shadow is on her right, she must be facing north. So, let me put it this way. Let me put it down on the paper so that you can understand it a little better. Okay. So, if imagine that if this is the light source, and let's say if she is Hema. Okay, so I'm so bad at drawing, so let's put it as put it in the letters only. So Rekha and Hema, we have R and H. So we have two persons facing each other. Okay, so we have two persons. We have Rekha and then Hema. So consider this as arrow marks. They both are facing each other. So if the persons are facing each other, that is one person looking towards the down and another person looking towards the up. So the shadow of both these persons should be falling in the opposite direction if in case if it is morning. So the sun will be towards the east during the morning. And let's say if it is evening, the same sun would appear in this place, isn't it? The sun will be towards here. So if the sun is there, then the shadow of both of these people will be falling towards where? You tell me. So will be exactly definitely falling towards that side. So if the shadow of these people are falling towards that side, if a person is facing towards the south, uh, this will be the right and this will be the left of the person. And if the person is facing towards the north, this will be the left and this will be the right of that person. So now you tell me what the question says. Hema's shadow was falling exactly to the right of Hema. That means towards her. So Hema's shadow is falling towards the right. That means if Hema is facing towards the north, then obviously Rekha should be facing in which direction? Exactly south. Exactly. Now, let's imagine this way. You and your friends are standing facing towards each other. And let me be the flashlight guy who brings a very big flashlight and I'm putting it on you. And I'm standing towards the east. So, where your shadow will fall? Of course, it will be towards falling towards the west. So, I'll give you a little puzzle so that you can do a little brain work of your own. Imagine that I am facing the rising sun in the morning. What direction am I facing? Put it down in the comments. Let's test your directional skills. I'll describe a scenario. You tell me which way I am facing. So I am facing. So the first scenario, I'll give you like 2 to 3 scenarios to see how good your direction skills are. So let's say the first scenario. I am facing the rising sun in the morning. What direction am I facing? Put it down. Put the answers down in the comments. And the second question. I turn 90-degree to my left from north. How, sorry, now which way am I facing? I turn 90-degree to my left from north. Now which way am I facing? For the second question, write it as second question and then put the answer down in the comments. Okay. Okay. So, and the third question, I have one more question, another interesting question. In the evening, my shadow falls to my left. Which direction am I facing? And this is happening during the evening. Remember that. Put the answers down. All right, then. All right, all right, all right. So, how many of you have said the answer for the first one as east? Congratulations. You are a direction master. And for the second one, how many of you have said west? Yeah. Some of you have said west. Nice. You are very good at directions. And third one, south. Oh yeah, so south is the accurate and correct answer. All right. Now let's move on to the seventh question we have here. So what do we have? So we have a question which is based on statements and conclusions. Okay. The statement says that the best evidence of India's glorious past is the growing popularity of Ayurvedic medicines in the West. So what does the conclusion say? Conclusion says something. Conclusion says Ayurvedic medicines are not popular in India. Okay, that's one conclusion. And what else we have? So we have allopathic medicines are no, more popular in India. Okay, that's a very interesting question. You know the drill. You must have solved it. So like hundreds of questions before even attending this question. uh, See, the best evidence of India's glorious past is the growing popularity of Ayurvedic medicines in the West. Alright, so let's imagine we are detectives trying to extract the meaning from this sentence. The statement tells us one thing: Ayurveda is the becoming popular in the West. But it does it say anything about Ayurveda's popularity in India or whether allopathic medicines are more popular? Alright, look at the conclusion one. So Ayurvedic medicines are not popular in India. Okay. So does the given statement say anything about India? No. It only says Ayurveda is popular in the West. But can we assume that just because it's popular in the West, it must not be popular in India? No, isn't it? So Ayurveda can be popular in both places, isn't it? So the first conclusion it doesn't follow. And look at the second conclusion. Allopathic medicines are more popular in India. Hmm. So does the given statement mention allopathy? No. There is no comparison between Ayurveda and allopathy. Just because Ayurveda is popular in the West, we cannot assume that allopathy is more popular in India. So the second conclusion doesn't follow as well. So what can we say is neither the conclusion 1 nor the conclusion 2 follows. So the right answer for this problem is, see, you can do all the things like you can draw the diagrams, Venn diagrams, but that's actually waste of time, and we do not want to do that, especially in TCS exams. We do not want to do that. So, all right then. So give me a statement and see. I'll give you a question. So I'll give you a question, and you have to give me a possible conclusion. Say, all right. So the increasing use of smartphone has changed the way people communicate. Now you tell me what are the possible conclusions you can give. The possible conclusions you put down in the comments. I'll reiterate the statement again. Once again I'll say the statement. Give a okay, so the increasing use of smartphones. I'll just write it down. That would be better. The increasing the increasing use of smartphones, the increasing use of smartphones has changed the way changed the way people communicate. Communicate. Alright. So that's the statement. From this statement, what possible conclusions you can infer? You put it down in the comments. Okay. So actually, the possible only possible wrong conclusion can be people no longer talk in person, which is incorrect because the statement doesn't say this, isn't it? Okay. So now let me give you one challenge. Let us have one challenge. Okay. So can you make a better conclusion for this? Look at the statements and try to make a better conclusion. Like if you had to write a conclusion that actually follows from the original statement, what would it be? Write it down. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. So what do we have here? Oh, it says something about death. Okay, so let's play for some time and then focus on the death part because it says something about the death. Okay, so that's just kidding. All right, so let's focus on the next question. Here, I'll just move it a little up. All right, read the question. So, death keeps no calendar. All right. So, all right, everyone, let's put on our philosopher hats and what does this statement actually mean? Does death wait for an invitation? Does it check your Google Calendar? No, it simply means that death is unpredictable. Now let's see if our conclusion match this idea. What does the first conclusion say? Man must die one day. Oh, right. The statement does not say anything about whether all humans must die. However, it simply implies that death is inevitable for everyone. Since death keeps no calendar, it indirectly suggests that everyone will face death someday. Don't you think that that matches with the conclusion one? Yeah, conclusion one follows. All right. So the conclusion now, second conclusion. Death can come at any time. All right. So that statement directly implies unpredictability. If death keeps no calendar, it means that death can happen at any time without warning. So conclusion two also follows, isn't it? So what do you think? So both the conclusion follows. Yep. Say something. All right. So let's play true or false game. Okay. So and we will play this true or false death edition. All right. So let's play a quick true or false game. So I'll give you a statement that, and you tell me if it follows logically or not. Okay. Write down the statements as I dictate. If someone is young, they won't die soon. Okay. So that's the statement. Second one, that is, if death keeps no calendar, it can happen anytime. And the second conclusion is, all people must experience death one day. Okay. So make your own deep statement. Now it's your turn. Create a deep philosophical one liner like death keeps no calendar, and let's see if we can form logical conclusion from it. So examples like, let's say, rolling stone gathers no Moses, and conclusion, a person who keeps moving does not settle down. Time waits for no one. And what does it mean? Time keeps moving forward regardless of human actions. So like that, something like you just give a very philosophical word down below. So let's see your creativity level, how philosophical as a person you are. All right. Okay. Look at this question. Statements. It comes under. It's a syllogism based question. Understanding the logical deductions will be the very primary thing that happens here. So we have given two statements. All the pencils are pens, all the pens are inks. Okay. So alright everyone, let's imagine that we are inside a stationery shop. We have pencils, pens and inks on different shelves. Now let's use logic to see how these items relate to each other. So let's analyze these two statements one by one. So what does the first statement say? The first statement say all pencils are pens. Okay. This means that every pencil belongs to a pen category. That means a pencil is a subset and that would be equal to pen. Can we say? So pencil and then the pen. Pencil and then the pen. Alright. So the second statement. What does the second statement say? All the pens are inks. This means every pen belongs to ink category. So that means we can say the pen is also a subset of ink. We can say. So if pencil is inside the pen category and pen is inside the ink category, then pencil must also be inside the ink category. All pencils are inks. Conclusion 1 follows. Correct. Conclusion 1 follows. Alright. So first conclusion follows. And look at that. So all the pencils are inks. We just proved that pencils. We just proved one thing. So what did we prove? Pencils is a subset of pens and which is a subset of inks. So conclusion 1 follows, we have said. And look at the conclusion 2 we have. So some inks are pencils. So we have already established that all pencils are inside the ink category. If all pencils are inside inks, then at least some part of the inks must contain pencils. This conclusion also is true. Alright. So since both conclusions logically follow, the correct answer is both 1 and 2 follows. Alright. Alright. Now I want you all to take 1 or 2 minutes of time and take a sheet of paper and draw 3 circles representing the pencil, pens and inks. And let's say if I add erasers to the mix, if I put erasers also inside the statement, you tell me will the same logic apply? Okay, if I add erasers to the mix, will the same logic apply? Try to visualize it and try to answer. Write your answers in the comments. All right then. So let's try the same thing with real life examples. I'll give you two statements and you form the conclusion. All right. So I'll write down the statements here. The statements are all apples. All apples are fruits. All right. All apples are fruits, and all fruits. All fruits are healthy. All right. So what can you conclude from it? Tell me the conclusion. So that means we can infer that all apples are healthy. So we can see sometimes it makes a logical sense. The syllogism based question, sometimes it makes a logical sense. Most of the times we often get questions which doesn't even make sense. But we have to use this concept of sets and subsets to deduce the question and then we have to answer it, which you can either use this format or you can use the circle way. You can actually circle and you can spend your time forever and you can do it. But since time is of an essence, we don't do circles and all in TCS exams. We only do that especially if we are writing any placement drives or anything. All right, we have done with this. Let's focus on the next problem, and the next problem is also looking like the previous one, but kind of like the previous one got an upgrade. Alright, give me a minute. How many students are there in the class? How many students are there in the class? That wasn't a question. That was I reading out the actual question. Okay. Alright. So there are more than 20, but less than 27 students in the class. Okay. So let's understand the question first. We need to determine the exact number of students in the class based on the two given statements. Alright. So alright class, imagine that you're planning a group project. You want to divide the class into two teams of into not two teams like into teams of 5 students each. But wait, how many students are actually in the class? Let's crack the clues. Let's use the clues. There are more than 20, but less than 27 students in the class. And that is the clue. That is the first statement. More than 20, but less than. So what are the possible values we have? Like the number of 21 and 26. The possible values between 21 and 26 could be what? What are the possible values? Let me just write it down. The possible values between them are 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 20, or 26. But we don't know yet if this number is divisible by 5. Hmm. Do we know that? No, right? So the statement 1 alone is not sufficient, we can say. Statement 1 alone cannot say. No. No, 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 no. And look at that. Say third statement like there are more than 24 but less than 21 students in the class. So the number of students is between 25 and 30. Even if we write it down, the possible values 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, or 30. But we still don't know if the number is divisible by 5. So statement 2 alone is also not sufficient. 1, not sufficient. No, never. 2, not sufficient. Nope. So, using both the statements, let's see if we can crack something. Okay, so from the first students, so from the first statement, so from the first statement, so we can say that the students are between 21 and 26. Okay, so that is from the first statement. Now, from the second statement, so the students are between 25 and 30. So the common number that both the set of numbers list is what? 25. This number is definitely divisible by 5. Alright, so now we can determine the exact number of students by taking the help of both the statements. So both statement 1 and 2 together are sufficient and 1 alone is not sufficient. So both the statement together are sufficient. Alright, so okay, so now I have written one number. Okay. Mm, guess the number that I've written. Not here. I'm using a physical paper to write it. So tell me what the number is. And I'll give you a clue. The number is between 10 and 20 and it's an odd number and it's also divisible by 5. Tell me the answer down in the comments. Okay, so you want the clues again. I'll say the clues again. The number is between 10 and 20. It's an odd number and it's also divisible by 5. Give me your answer. Okay. So let's proceed with the next question that we are going to solve. Look at the next question. What does the next question say? Is that the final question? No. So look at the 11th question. Let's solve the question number 11. Let's have the question number 11. Alright class, let's play detective and figure out Rahul's birth year. Imagine you are at a birthday party and someone asks how old is Rahul, but you don't have his age, only a couple of mysterious clues. Let's solve this puzzle. Rahul at present is 25 years younger than his mother. So what does this tell us? If we knew Rahul's mother's birth year, we could easily find Rahul's birth year. But since her birth year is not given, we cannot determine Rahul's birth year, don't we? So, statement 1 alone is not sufficient. And look at that. Second statement. Rahul's brother, born in 1964, is 35 years younger than their mother. If Rahul's brother was born in 1964 and is 35 years younger than their mother, we can find the mother's birth year. How do you find it? Simple. If Rahul's okay, okay. So if let's find the mother's birth year. So mother's birth year. So that is 1964 plus 35. 35 years. See the Rahul and is 35 years younger to his mother, right? So we can find the mother's birth year. So that would be 1999. So but this only tells us the mother's birth year. It doesn't tell us Rahul's age or birth year directly. So the second statement alone is not sufficient. Alone is also not sufficient. Now let's see if we can make out something if we use it together. So from the second statement we found that Rahul's mother was born in 1929, and from the first statement we know that Rahul is 25 years younger than this mother. So let's have a little calculation over there. So let's do it. So Rahul's birth year, that is equal to mother's birth year minus 25. That means 1929 minus 25, that is how much? Sorry, I think I'm making a mistake. 1999 minus 25, that would be 1954. So now we can determine the exact birth year of Rahul. So since we need both the statements together to find the Rahul's birth year, the correct option could be what? So we need both of them. So that would be E. Both 1 and 2 are sufficient. Okay. Alright then. So let's proceed with the next question. What do we have here? So we have a very lengthy question. Okay. Okay. So we have that. Mhm. So the following tree diagram shows the number of people watching the news channels Aaj Tak, Z News, ABP News, and India Today. So if the total number of people is 400, then what is the percentage of people watching only two of the channels among the following? Take a moment, think about it. Try to say the answer. I cannot solve all the questions by myself, right? So I also need you people to solve this, some of the questions at least, at least. So from the Venn diagram, the numbers that represent people watching exactly two channels, that is, they do not watch three or four channels. So Z News and Aaj So how many people are watching that? Only two of the channels they are asking, right? So let's solve it. So only two of the channels, how many of them are watching? So that means Z News, Z News and then Aaj Tak. How many people are watching that? Z News and Aaj Tak both? 10 people. So we will write 10 then. And Z News and India Today, right? That was the question. So Z News and then India Today. Okay, that would be 12. 12. Z News and India Today. India Today, that would be how much? 12. And Z News and ABP News is not given separately, isn't it? So it's not given separately. Now, what do we have there? So we have Aaj Tak and ABP News. Aaj Tak and then ABP News, that we have four people. And Aaj Tak and India Today we have 10. Aaj Tak and India Today we have 10. And India Today and ABP News we have how much? 8. So India Today and ABP News we have 8. So if you add all these values, that is 10 plus 12 plus 4 plus 10 plus 8, so what do you get? So you get, if you add all these values, you get 44. Now, what is the percentage of people watching only two channels? So how many people are there totally? Like, so total divided by total people is 400 and only 44 people are watching. So divided by 400. So multiplied by 100. Zeros and zeros will go away. You tell me what is the percentage? 11. Exactly. 11 percentage is the answer. Okay. So, alright. So I don't watch any of these news channels. So what do you think? So what are the news channels you people watch very oftenly? Just as I imagined, nobody watches news these days. That is just there for the sake of existing and nobody watches. Okay, sometimes, yeah, maybe we have to watch just because our elders are watching, but most of us just skip it. Like, we don't want it. Okay. Oh, more Venn diagrams. We have more Venn diagrams. Which of the following diagram correctly represents the relationship among teacher, man, and author? Okay. So what do we have here? Actually, we need to determine the correct Venn diagram that represents the relation among teachers, men, and authors. So you need to ask these questions. Actually, can teacher be a man? Yes, some teachers are men, but not all the teachers are men because there are some female teachers too, isn't it? Uh, Second thing you need to ask yourself is, can a teacher be an author? Yes, a teacher can also be an author, but not all teachers are authors. Can a man be an author? Yes, some men are authors, but not all men are authors. And ask yourself this question, like, are all teachers men and authors are the same? No. Teachers, men, and authors, those three people cannot be the same people. because women can be teachers and authors too. That's thus these three groups are overlapping but not completely contained within each other. So the correct diagram should show overlapping circles because some teachers are men, some are authors, right? And some are both. So, however, none of the three categories are entirely contained within each other. So, the correct answer should be the Venn diagram where all three circles overlap partially. You tell me, where is that circle? Which is that option? Correct. That is option A. Yes, exactly. Alright. That should be option A. Alright. So I'll give you a question. So I'll give you a little puzzle. So who belongs where? So, so name a famous teacher. Any famous teacher that you know. For example, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Okay, so that person is famous because of him we get a holiday for Teachers' Day. Alright. Uh, and you tell me if that person is also an author, could be. Yes. Then name a famous author who's not a teacher. If you ask me, I would say like J.K. Rowling. Yeah. So if all of them are men, no, definitely not. Some see these are some of the real world examples that help you to visualize the logic behind the correct Venn diagram. Okay, so you don't have to draw it and put it on the paper and check each and every time. It's there directly in front of you. Okay, so you're just not seeing it. Okay, so some teachers are men, but not all. Some teachers are authors, but not all. Some men are authors, but not all. All three categories must overlap, but it should also remain distinct from each other. So that is only possible on option A, and none of the other options follows. All right, then. So we have one more question, which is based on the missing term series. So I am not going to do this one because I've been solving a lot of problems and I need to give you people some little work to do also, isn't it? So what I'll do is I'll just start a timer. I'll give you exactly 1 minute of time to crack this problem. So I'll just start the timer. Give me 1 minute. Okay. I'm going to start the timer. I want everyone to do the problem before the timer runs out. Your time starts now. The time is up. The timer is over. So now it's time for solving the problem. Alright, so observing the sequence, what can you say? Alright, so the first step is we need to identify the pattern. Like, so we need to observe the sequence. So what do we notice here? So 7 is getting written as 12 and then 15 and then 16 and See, there is not a prescribed way that we can say that this is how you should solve a missing term in the series. Any number series based problem, see, each person's thinking is different and it differs from me to you and you to your friend. So the way I am solving the problem might differ from the way you are solving the problem. That doesn't mean that the logic what you're getting could be incorrect. It is correct. The logic that you are getting, I am getting, and both you and your friends are getting, every logic is correct as long as it is giving a logical solutions to the problem. So let's see how this works. So let's try to solve this problem. Look at the problem. So first we need to identify the pattern. That is our very first step. Identify the pattern. So what do you see? The number 7 is getting written as 12. So what's happening here? It's getting increased by plus 5. And the number 12 is getting increased by 15. So what's happening there? Plus 3. Great. And this number is getting written as 16. Okay. Plus 1. So what's happening with this 16? After 16, what should come? We don't know. We don't know. But we don't know what's happening here. But from we don't know to 12. Uh, so what's the pattern here? So can you figure out the pattern? Is what's actually happening? So 5 to 3 the difference is 2 and 3 to 1 the difference is 2, and if you go the difference 2, so how do you find it? So what exactly is happening here? Okay, are they squaring the numbers? Are they cubing the numbers? Or what exact logic are they using to move from one number to another number? What exactly are they doing there? So 531, is it that is how the numbers are progressing? A symmetrical sequence around the middle term would mean that the center is going forward, and if you mirror it, it increments, but it is happening in the reverse. Like so, for example, like the same thing. If you just mirror it, let's say if the sequence is going like, mm, let me put it this way. See, these are the numbers, but look at the positions here. Positions. So the 7 is in the first position, and this is in the second position, third position, and then fourth, and then fifth, and then sixth, and then seventh. So looking at this, we can say that this is not falling exactly in the middle, but the pattern, if you just break it down, it evenly breaks. So whenever there is an even break and you can see three numbers this side and also three numbers this side, you need to apply the mirror logic. There is something called as mirror logic. Then, so first we will do the analysis with the first three numbers, and if that fits the pattern, we'll apply the same mirror logic to the next, and we will see if that fits or not. Like 7, they're writing it as 12. So what's the difference between that number? So it is 5. And what's the difference here? 12 to 15, it is 3. And what's the difference here? It's 1. Alright. And then, but it's happening like plus, plus, and then plus. It is going like, so increasing by 3, increasing by 1. It's going like that. So a symmetrical sequence around the middle term would mean that the center is going forward. So which means that the mirror, we the increments but in reverse. Like how do we put it? Like, so plus 1 plus 3 plus 5 becomes minus 1 minus 3 and then minus 5. I know that sounds crazy, but let's put it and let's test our logic. If see, we don't know unless we figure it out. We don't know like if the logic is fitting or not fitting. So let's try that out and check our super genius brain if it is working or not. So these are the questions which crashes your brain. So though the answer is simple, you know the logic is there in front of you, but still it crashes your brain. Alright. So minus 1, minus 3, minus 5. So let's apply that logic. And let's say, so after applying, so after 16, if you apply after this number, after 16, okay. So if you apply, after 16, if you apply minus 1, what would you get? So you will get 15. And if you continue the logic, like if you do minus 3, so you should be ending up with 12. Yes, of course, our logic is working. Didn't I tell you, and whenever there is a missing term in the series and there is an even break, try to see once with the mirror logic. Definitely that is going to work. And now the 12. And if you go ahead, then what number you have to subtract with? 12 minus 5, 7. Yes, 12 minus 5, 7. 12 minus 5, we are getting 7. So what is the missing number in this place? Obviously it's 15. Yes, of course. So you can do it in different approaches also. Like you can see the consecutive patterns like plus 5, plus 3, plus 1, and then also minus 1. That way also you can do it. Now I'll give you a sequence. So I'll give you 30 seconds to guess what is the next number could be. Okay. So I'll give you a number that goes like, write down the numbers. Like I'll tell you a number. 7, 12. Okay, so the same thing, but this time you have to do reverse engineering. So whatever the same thing, so whatever, if we read the sequence backward, so you have to do it like that. I'll just put that here, 7, 12, and there is a question mark for you, and then 16, and then 15, and then 12, and then 7. So do we notice this pattern in reverse? So what could what could be the number that can be coming in that question mark place? Tell me. Give me your answers in the comments. I'm not seeing any answers. Let me bring the live chat window here. 13. Someone is saying 13. Not exactly. Okay, if I minimize that, that is also going. Okay. Maybe, okay, 13, 13, 13, 13. Only Parveen Taj. 13 is there. Okay. Alright. Alright. Okay, guys. Okay, see here. We have done this already. We have already done this. We don't have to do it again from the scratch. The same question. You're just seeing it in the reverse. I've told you, I've also given you the keywords. Look at this question. Look at this question. It's both one and the same. So you understand the word mirror, isn't it? So if the mirror works from here to here, it should be working from here to here. Exactly. So the answer is 15. It's not 13. All right. So congratulations. You have now learned something new. The logic of mirror, which you can apply it inside the number series questions and get the job done real quick. Okay. So time is of an essence. Okay. You should not waste the time in analyzing and doing multiple logics. All right. Okay. Let's solve the next question. Look at the question. So what do we have here? So we have Bharti Kavya Marathi. Marathi? Is that a person's name or is it like Marathi in Kannada? Marathi. Marathi. It should be Marathi because Marathi nobody keeps a name as Marathi. That is a state's name, alright? No, I'm wrong. It's a language name. Alright, so Nitya, Ovya, Pragati, Ramya, and Shruti. My boss's name is also there. And They're all sitting around a circular table facing the center. Okay, but not necessarily in the same order. Shruti sits second to the right of Pragati. Only two persons sit between Shruti and Kavya. Obviously, sits opposite to Bharati, who is not an immediate neighbor of Kavya and Pragati. Nitya is the immediate neighbor of Kavya and Bharati. Marathi, I'm still saying that as Marathi. It's not Marathi, it's Marathi. So Marathi sits the third to the right of Bharati. I have rephrased the same question over and over. So, what is the position of Ovia with respect to Bharati? Pick any single person as a fixed reference point. That should be your very first step. And this comes under seating arrangement based questions. So for circular seating arrangement problems, it is common to fix one person at a reference point. That would make the job easier for us. So let's. So the first step is, so let's create a fixing a reference point. All right. So fixing a reference point. Let's do that. Fixing a reference point. So let's assume that Bharti sits at position 1. Right. So let's say Bharti sits at position 1. So how will you place the opposite person to Bharti? So we are told that Ovia sits opposite to Bharti. In an 8-seat circle, the seat directly opposite to position 1 is position 5. Okay, I'll just draw a circle and help you to visualize it in case if it's getting too complicated for you to think about. Let me draw you a circle. That's a square. Okay, let me draw a circle for you. Okay, so we have a circle here, and okay, so that's our circle. Okay, so imagine that everybody is there. So we have to fix someone. Let's say if it is a 8-seated circle, you can make them sit like this: one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8. You can make them sit like that. So if you number everybody like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If position 1 is Bharti, then the position of opposite to Bharti. So we are told that Ovia sits opposite to Bharti. That means so Ovia is at position 5. So Ovia is here. Alright. So the placing Marathi using Bharti's relations, we are told that Marathi sits third to the right of Bharti. So for persons facing the center, that means so if a person is facing towards the center, that means you it is clockwise in the sense this becomes the right of the person and the left of the person. It's going in the clockwise rotation. So starting at position 1, if you count the clockwise direction, so clockwise in the sense if you count it in this direction, okay, so the first to the right, so first right is position 2 and the second right is position 3, third right is position 4. So you tell me third to the right in the sense where is Marathi coming? So Marathi is coming to position 4. Alright. So how do you place Nitya and Kavya? What does the clue say? The clue say that Nitya is the immediate neighbor of Kavya and Bharti. Nitya is the immediate neighbor of Kavya and Bharti. So think everything in numbers. You don't have to assume everything in words. Words are very confusing, not the numbers. So the clue says that Nitya is immediate to the neighbor of Kavya and Bharti. Bharti's immediate neighbors, they're all facing the centers and the positions are what? 8 and 2. So that to have Nitya adjacent to both Bharti and Kavya, so the logical placement of Nitya should be here. Nitya should be here. Alright. So then to be an immediate neighbor of Nitya on the other side, Kavya must be at position 3. That means Kavya will come here. So If Bharti is at 1 and Nitya must sit next to both Bharti and Kavya, where can we place Nitya and Kavya? Guide me. Give me the answers in the comment box. And also we need to place few more people, girls also, like Shruti and Pragati also should come there. So the given the clues to give two pieces of information. The Shruti sits second to the right of Pragati. Only two persons sit between Shruti and Kavya. Alright, so let's take that hint. Kavya is at position 3, isn't it? So Kavya is at position 3. Only two persons sit between Shruti and Kavya. So it can be satisfied if we count anti-clockwise from the position 3. So anti-clockwise from the position 3, uh, Nitya is first. That means in position 1, Bharti is second. And then position 8 becomes the third seat. So in this ordering, there are exactly two persons between position 3 and position 8. To set Shruti at position 8, so we have to put Shruti here. Shruti should come there. Alright. So using the first clue, Shruti sits, what they are saying, Shruti sits second to the right of Pragati. Since everyone faces towards the center, right is clockwise. So for Shruti at position 8 to be the second to the right of Pragati, if we move clockwise 2 seats from Pragati, okay, so 2 seats from Pragati's position, we must land on position 8. And if you work a little backwards, this so if the seat 2 places clockwise from Pragati is position 8, then Pragati must be at position 6. So isn't it? So that doesn't that make it logical? Like, so Pragati. So let's put her here. So Pragati. Okay, so Pragati. So Pragati must be at position 6 because from position 6, the first right is position 7. Okay, because we are clocking working backwards, right? So and the second right is position 8. So Pragati goes to position 6. So if Shruti is 2 to the right of Pragati and if and we fix Shruti as position 8, where does Pragati have to sit? Of course, position 6. Now that we have placed Bharti, Nitya, Kavya, Marathi, Ovi, and Pragati, so who's the remaining person? The remaining person is Ramya. Correct. Ramya will go to position 7. The Dhoni's favorite jersey number. So Ramya is going there. So verifying the other conditions. So what they are saying here is Bharti is not an immediate neighbor of Kavya and Pragati. So Bharti's neighbors are position 8 and position 2. According to this, they are at position 8 and position 2. So who are they? Who are the Bharti's neighbors? Shruti and Nitya. And it's not Kavya. So position 3 and Pragati is at position 6. Alright. So Nitya is immediate neighbor of both Kavya and Bharti. So you can say that Nitya is at position 2, which is who is adjacent to Bharti, who is at position 1, and Kavya, who is at position 3. The condition is satisfying. Okay, so and look at the other condition. So Marathi sits third to the right of Bharti. Yes, from Bharti position 1 counting clockwise. Nitya, Kavya, Marathi, yes, coming correctly. And only two persons sit between Shruti and Kavya. If you go in the anti-clockwise order from Kavya, position 3, position 2 and 1, Bharti are in between, and with Shruti at position 8, all the conditions are satisfied, guys, all the conditions are satisfied. So now determining obvious position with relative to Bharti is the real challenge. Okay. So Bharti is at position 1 and OVA is where? OVA is at position 5. Okay. So in an 8-seated circle, if the person directly sits opposite, that means the person is 4 seats away. Always remember this. The person is always 4 seats away. Whenever they use the word opposite, they're just 4 seats away. So counting from the position 1, Nitya, Kavya, and Marathi and Ovia. Ovia is fourth to the right. Similarly, anti-clockwise if you do Shruti, Ramya, Pragati, and Ovia. OVI is fourth to the left. So both the descriptions are correct. So what is the answer? You tell me. I'm not saying. The answer is both A and C. So the answer for this problem is both A and C. So OVI is fourth to the left and fourth to the right of Bharti. Now that we have placed everyone, who can tell me where OVI sits relative to Bharti? From the options only. Here only the options are there. Look at go through the options. What you see here, and you tell me uh, where OVI sits relative to Bharti. Compared to Bharti, where OVI is sitting. Look at the diagram and tell me the answer. Correct. Obviously, it's it's there in front of you. So, in an eight-person circle, the person directly sits opposite is simultaneously fourth to the right and fourth to the left. Okay, so if the options are saying fourth to the right or fourth to the left, either your option could be option A is also right answer, option C is also right answer. All right. So I hope you have got the logic and also you have learned something new which you will apply. All right. For this question, again, I'm giving a timer. I'll set up a timer. I'm very sorry. We're closing in on the time. We're almost there. Another 15 minutes, if you bear with me, that's more than enough to, you know, actually, we'll not take much time. We'll just take 1 minute of your time to, uh, I, I just want you to try once. In case if you didn't got enough time to try in the actual exams, I just want you all to try once. Okay. Okay, so 1 minute is the time before the timer runs out. Please, please, please try. Okay, time is up. Alright, everyone, time for another fun brain teaser. This this one's all about family relations. So put on your detective hats. Why is the daughter of X's brother, wife, father-in-law? Who is Y to X? Now, I know that it looks like a twisted family drama, but don't worry, I'll walk you through it step by step. So let's break this down. Who's with me? Okay. Okay. So first we have X's brother. Okay. So X's brother. So X has a sibling. Simple enough, isn't it? Yeah. Now X's brother's wife. Who is she? Obviously, she should be sister-in-law, sister-in-law for short. Exactly. Now here's where things get tricky. We need to figure out who her father-in-law is, sister-in-law, and who her father-in-law is. Well, that should be the person, her husband's ex's brother. So her father-in-law must be ex's father, isn't it? So you just think it logically. So now the question is, why is the daughter of ex's father and who is ex's father's daughter? Boom, there you go. That means y is x's. Tell me the answer in the comments. X is what? X's sister. Exactly, sister. All right, sister. So that's the final answer. So the answer for this is sister. So we don't have to go put it everything in the Jamboard and waste the space. So see, not so scary, isn't it? So once you break it down, just remember, don't let the words confuse you. Always focus on the relationships step by step. All right. So who's up for another one? I can understand how you're feeling already. The day was very exhausting, and this he just keeps jamming with the questions over and over. See, I can understand how you're feeling, but that's okay. Don't worry. So let's get ready for a little mind traveling exercise. Okay, so imagine that yourself as a girl in the next problem. You have to imagine yourself, even if you're a boy. Okay, so let's take a walk together. Don't worry, you won't get lost. Okay, so she starts from her house and walks 30 meters in the northwest direction. Everyone picture this. North is up. Okay, up, not towards your ceilings, but yes, but up. It is up. So west is left. So northwest is diagonally towards your left. Okay, I'll give you a second to visualize it. Close your eyes and try to visualize what I'm actually saying. Now she walks 30 meters in the southwest direction. South is down. West is still left. So southwest is diagonally down left. Okay. So she kind of cancelled out the movement, isn't it? So exactly, the the vertical, that is the north south movement, got neutralized. Now, but she still moved a little bit to the left. Now she's slightly west of where she started. Slightly west of where she started. Okay, next thing, imagine this, visualize this. As I say things, you just have to close your eyes and visualize it. Next, she walks 30 meters in the southeast direction. South is down, east is right. So, southeast is diagonally down right. Now, where do you think she is? She has to be back in line with where she started, right? So, just a bit to the left. Yes, so she's now exactly southwest of her starting position. Now that she's done, see, I know that if imagining is too difficult for you, I'll just put it on the paper so that you can actually learn it more visually instead of, if visualizing is a little quite difficult for you, I'll just put it on the paper. Look at here. A girl leaves from her home. Imagine that this is her home. Okay. So this is her home. Okay. And she walks first 30 meters in the northwest direction. Northwest, they are saying northwest. So we have to bring the house a little down. So select that house. Let's bring the house a little down. Okay. So what do we have there? So from the house, she leaves from her house and she walks 30 meter northwest. This, okay, see, this is north. Okay, straight up. From, if you start drawing straight up north, northwest, northeast, northwest, northeast. She's going there. She's going there. Okay, so she's going there. Okay, so she goes for how long? She first walks for 30 meters in the northwest direction. So 30 meters. And then she, then 30 meters towards the southwest. So she goes there, she comes back, same 30 meters. So what do you think? The same distance gets cancels out each other, but this time what's happening is she's facing in this direction actually. Southwest direction. Northwest. Okay, no. Not exactly, not exactly, not exactly. So northwest and then 30 meters southwest. Southwest. She's coming like that. 30 meters southwest. Alright. Next, she walks 30 meters in the southeast direction. She walks 30 meters in the southeast direction like that. Okay, so south, southeast, south, southeast. Alright, southeast direction is going for how long? She walks for 30 meters in the southwest direction. Next, she walks 30 meters in the southeast direction. Finally, she turns towards her house. Towards her house. Where her house is? Towards her left. Whenever a question says left or right, you have to take a sharp 90-degree left or right. So either it could be left or right. So you have to take a sharp 90-degree left or right. So finally, she turns towards her house in which direction? So which direction is her house? Straight left. So take a sharp 90-degree left, and she goes for how long? No, they have not mentioned that, but they are saying that she has turned towards her house. In which direction is she moving? So, what is this direction? You tell me. What is this direction? So, if you are not so sure about it, just put a plus like that. This is east, north, and somewhere between north and east. So, what do you call north and east in between us? Northeast, exactly. So, the answer for this problem is northeast. You're getting the logic right. So, who's ready for another trickier one? The trickiest one. Okay, so I'm up. So another two statements we have. So yeah, so we have some dogs are bats, some bats are cats, and the conclusion also says some cats are dogs, and some dogs are cats. You tell me. I have solved plenty already, so I'm done for the day. But I want you to solve. Just kidding. I cannot say that actually. So, but I want you to solve the question and give me the answer. Quick, real quick. Come on. Chop chop. Okay, so that was your 1 minute, and the 1 minute is gone. So let's break it down step by step. Imagine, you're drawing three circles, like one for dogs, one for bats, and one for cats. If so, the dog circle overlaps with the bat circle because the first statement says that some dogs are bats. All right. So another circle also overlaps. So the bat circle overlaps with the cat circle. That means some bats are cats. Now you notice one thing, like dogs and cats are not directly connected. Let's say if I say some students are singers, some singers are dancers. So what can you conclude from that? I'll say it again. Some students are singers, some singers are dancers. What can we conclude? Can we conclude that some students are dancers? Yeah, I understand your confusion. No, because we don't know if the students and dancers actually overlap. Exactly, that's the same problem here as well. We know some dogs are bats, some bats are cats, but that does not mean that the dogs and cat must be connected. Okay, so the dogs and cats are not, so it may be connected, it may not, but the conclusion one, whatever the conclusion one says, some dogs are cats, is not necessarily true. And for the same reason, conclusion 2 is also not necessarily true. So, syllogism does not work like a chain reaction. Just because A is linked to B and B is linked to C does not mean that A is linked to C. Unless it's explicitly stated, then it's not the case. Okay. So, neither conclusion 1 nor conclusion 2 follows. So, the right answer for this problem is option C. Option C is the right answer. Another two questions and then we will be done for the day, I believe. Another 5 minutes to wind up this session. Another 5 minutes. Just hold up. Try to solve this. I'll give another 1 minute. Alright then, so the time is up. What do we have here? So what will be the total weights of 10 poles? Give me 1 minute. So if it is of the same weight, so that is same weight. 1/4 of the weight of each pole is 5 kilograms, and then so that's a little tricky one, isn't it? Even I thought that that would not be that easy, but yep, it's a little bit a tricky one. Yep. So let's try to break it down a little. 1/4 of the weight of each pole is 5 kg. So let's try to analyze the two statements one by one and see if they give us enough data. So first statement, what does it say? 1/4 of the weight of each pole is 5 kg. Okay. Imagine that you have one pole. If 1/4 of the weight is 5 kg, then what is the weight? If 1/4 of the weight is 5 kg, so according to the first statement, let's see if the statement alone, the first statement alone can able to suffice. Let's see that. So if 1/4 of the weight is 5 kilogram, then what's the weight? 20 kg. So can we get the weight from one? So we can decide what is the weight of the one pole, that is 20 kg. So now we need the total weight of 10 poles. So if you multiply it by 10, multiply it by 10, so we get 200 kilograms. So one alone is sufficient. Now let's see, just because one alone is sufficient, we should not ignore the second statement. We need to see that also. Look at the second statement. What does it say? The total weight of three pole is 2 kilograms. So the total weight of three pole is 20 kgs more than the total weight of two poles. That means the weight of three poles. So let's say that the each pole weighs, each pole, we don't know the weight, but let's assume that the weight of each pole is W kilograms. So the weight of three poles will be how much? Yes, 3W. And the weight of two poles will be how much? 2W. According to the statements, the weight of three poles will be equal to the weight of two poles plus 20 kilograms extra. So the you just subtract 2W from both the sides. So what do you get? So what do you get? Exactly. You get the weight of the each pole is 20 kilogram. So again, if we can calculate the total weight of the 10 poles, so multiply it by 10, again it will give you 200 kgs. So we can say the statements 2 is also sufficient. Also sufficient. So either statement 1 can alone answer or 2 can alone answer, but we don't need both of them. So data sufficiency questions don't require full calculations. You just need to check if you could solve the answer. So be careful not to overthink and do extra math when it's not needed. So, alright, so the answer for this problem is what? Either 1 or 2 alone is sufficient. Right. So I hope you had a fantastic learning experience, and you guys were wonderful. You were interactive. You were asking a lot of doubts, questions, and everything. I hope we will again meet again someday in the near future. And yeah, that's it from my end. Any questions or doubts that you would like to ask, or any messages before I leave? All right then. So thank you all. So thanks for giving your precious time to me and letting me do the online class. Thank you all. So we will see again sometime in the near future. So thank you all.